Hello and a warm welcome to News Pulse. It's 1 a.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong. I'm Dawn Tan. The UN Security Council has strongly condemned North Korea's third nuclear test. Now, the 15 members issued a unanimous statement at an emergency meeting a short while ago. The Council will now begin work immediately on appropriate measures against Pyongyang. Back to News Pulse. Here's a recap of the top story this hour. The UN Security Council has strongly condemned North Korea for staging its third and most powerful nuclear test. It said it would start work immediately on new measures against Pyongyang. The Security Council had last month threatened significant action against the regime if it conducted a new test or missile launch. Pyongyang is escalating it. Our correspondent Nathan King is at the UN Security Council emergency meeting on North Korea. Nathan, it didn't take very long for everyone to get on the same page, a united front. Tell us the latest. Nathan, the US envoy to the UN, Susan Rice, says Pyongyang faces increasing isolation and pressure. How is the US public reacting to news of the test in general? Thanks very much for that update on this developing story. That was Nathan King reporting there out of New York. Now, for more, we have with us Philip Yun from the Plowshares Fund. That's a public foundation that specializes in non-proliferation issues. Philip joins us from San Francisco. Philip, strong words there from the UN Security Council condemning North Korea. What do you make of the latest developments?
Well, I think right now with North Korea, it is serious. I think with this blast, we can expect North Korea possibly to be much more emboldened to do more provocative acts to try.
But Philip, I mean, China's patience must be wearing pretty thin with North Korea by now. I mean, the test was hugely insulting to China. What's China's role now? Would China actually support the new sanctions, if there are any, and a tougher stand against North Korea? Or would it put up some kind of resistance to try to avoid angering North Korea?
Well, I think that's the real question. I think I was somewhat surprised and pleasantly surprised that China, for the last set of sanctions that happened after the missile launch, rocket launch, acted so quickly.
Embarrassed City Commissioner is now demanding that all police officers trim their waistlines and get fit. Channel News Asia's Murtaza Merchant has the skinny on this story.
Murtaza Merchant, Channel News Asia in Mumbai.
Inspiration there to hit the treadmill in the morning. There's more news in half an hour. Follow us as well on channelnewsasia.com, Facebook and Twitter.
And the number of inbound tourists, which could be a good sign for the Japanese economy. Michio Ishida, Channel News Asia, Tokyo.
And we're still very much in the festive mood here in Singapore. Well, that's all we have time for on News Pulse tonight. More news in half an hour. In the meantime, you can follow us on channelnewsasia.com, Facebook and Twitter as well. The top stories in the headlines. The UN Security Council is strongly condemning North Korea's third nuclear test in 7 years. In an emergency meeting, the Council says it will immediately start work on measures against Pyongyang, a pacemaker for years. But it said the Pope isn't stepping down because of illness. The Pontiff will say farewell to the faithful at St. Peter's Basilica on February 27th. And those are the headlines. You're watching Channel News Asia.